At Bianchi Honda, we want to exceed your expectations for customer service. From our gorgeous showroom and accommodating staff to our extraordinary selection of Honda vehicles and industry-leading service department. Your vehicle should be the best choice for you, and you can find it here at Bianchi Honda. I'm Jason Perico, and I promise to always make it worth a visit.
Everybody on this Thursday night. I am James Arn. Yes, I do love Thursdays. I start my weekends on Thursday. I just happen to have to work, some of those days. Matter of fact, almost every day. This week we have Cathedral Prep in Meadville from the stadium. We have Never Enough football, but it's going to be a great weekend. Jack Quinn will be in East Stroudsburg with Gannon football, and Jim Marnell and I will be at the stadium for Meadville, and Prep want to welcome in Gannon football coach now, Brad Rzyczycki. Coach, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
All right, that time of the year we'll get to getting a team ready to go across state and play a good team. That has to be an interesting chore. But first of all, let's take a look back at the IUP game. Another slow start, but boy, you come back, twice you have the ball down 2014. It was an intense game. I don't want to get into all the extracurricular because I can only imagine how you feel if I'm that upset. But take us through the game. You're down 17-0 after one quarter, 20-0 in the second period, and then the defense stop after stop after stop.
Yeah, we've talked about this, and I feel like a broken record about the fact that we have got to get off to fast, quick starts. And I think you've seen, the 6 wins that we've had this season, we've scored first in each one of those wins. So it's just a matter of this team needs a catalyst, and that's why we take the ball first. That's why we try to get the engine going. We got down 17-0 pretty fast, but I'll give the kids credit. This time they didn't fold. I thought the Cal game when we got down 35, it just was too much to come back. But these kids fought, and like I said, we played better on the road for some reason, Jimmy. But, I took some time for Zach Phillips to sit in and get comfortable back there because now he just wasn't running in to run the football. He was basically the starting quarterback during the entire game and to get our offense going. And we needed a spark, and it took us a little bit of time, but the spark ended up coming from our defense when they finally settled down. To simulate their quarterback IUPs in practice is difficult to do. Now, we have Nico Law, who did a great job for us in practice doing it. But still, then you get all the other skilled players and everyone else running. And, we had some schemes where we had people on him. He just was better. He either outran us. They had a good scheme with trying to block our corner with their tight end. And it took us a little bit of time to figure that part of it out. But I think once they did defensively, Coach Thompson had a great game plan for IUP and held those guys in check. I think the third quarter they had maybe 20 yards, and they got the ball first in the second half. So I was really proud of the way they came back and played. We've got to do a better job of controlling the line of scrimmage on offense. I think if we can do that and we can be efficient on first down, I think that's where our difficulty is right now. We can't put young quarterbacks in situations where they're working at 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 7 plus, and it's just not. It's not going to work that way. So we have worked this week in making sure that we can take care of first down, put ourselves in some manageable situations. But we showed some toughness, I thought. We do have some inexperienced kids on the field, and it's not an excuse or a crutch, but they ended up showing up and playing. And sometimes with kids that aren't experienced, practice is one thing with scheme, but once you get into a game, the game's much faster, and it takes them a little bit of time to catch up, where experienced kids, they're used to it. So it's just one of those things. I think that's where the result with the Cal game and then the IUP game with the slow start. But as soon as they figured it out, I thought they played really well.
After breaking down film, how did Phillips grade out?
Good enough. It's more our job as the coaching staff to see what he does well.
Right.
Because he's not Liam. He's a different ball player. He's not 6'6". Obviously, he runs better than Liam. So we have got to do a better job as a coaching staff to put him in plays that make a little bit more sense for his skill set. And I think that's what we sat down and did. And the other thing that Zach needs experience on the field. They were doing some stuff where they were chasing the tailback, chasing Brock, but then shocking Zach at the last second. And those are schemes that he's going to see with our zone read stuff that are specific towards him. Where Liam, you didn't really worry about him running away. He may get his 6 or 7 yards, and Zach can get 80 yards if you don't pay attention to him. So IUP had a really good game plan for him, and it took him a little bit of time to figure that part of it out. And we did some things where we made the read easy for him by sealing the backside as opposed to reading it, so he didn't have to do that read until he had it figured out. So once we got that figured out, and we got him out of the pocket, you saw the touchdown pass he threw, he was out of pocket. That's kind of his MO as opposed to sitting back there. But he played better as the game went on, and the more experience we get that young man, the better off he's going to be.
Did IUP do anything different offensively than you looked at and expected?
No, they had a couple things schematically, I think, that are a little bit different. Like I said, the way they blocked on the backside of their read stuff with their quarterback, where they arced the tight end to our corner and left our end unblocked and made our end try to chase down that quarterback. And I thought Trent and those guys did a really good job of not running upfield after a while and making that kid work laterally so we can get all the other safeties and everyone else there. And I think when we got that figured out, that was the only little new wrinkle. They did good, but it gave us, we gave them some points early on that scheme. But I thought we came back and did okay with it.
Quarterback Lenny Williams, Temple transfer. He seemed to be all business. He didn't look like he got caught up in all that yapping.
No, I didn't. I don't really pay attention to a ton of it on the field. You can hear it coming back to our sideline, but no, I thought he was workmanlike.
Yeah, and he had that deciding touchdown, a long run. Was that a broken play? Did you go all out?
Yeah. We sent some pressure, and backside he was better than the one guy we had left for him, and then ran away from it. And that's the risk we talked about last week, and we saw it with Slippery Rock. If you send 7 and one guy misses and there's no one behind it, then there's going to be some issues there.
All right. Somebody called yesterday, asked me about Brock Jones. They said that they thought that he didn't play at all his freshman year. Does he have a redshirt year and just doesn't want it?
No, he played. This is his 4th season playing.
I've never heard redshirt.
Yeah, no, because we'd keep him back. I could use another season out of Brock, so no, we'd keep him if we had him.
I told the caller, I said, listen, I have never heard the term redshirt with Brock Jones, and I'm sure Gannon would be all over that. That's for sure. The rest of your offense, Zach Phillips, I thought, as I said, or you said, serviceable, good enough to win, probably a major step forward. Will you start Liam Nodler against East Stroudsburg?
We're going to play them both.
Okay, going to play them both. Against IUP, any major disappointment, running the ball, not running the ball, or just a slow start? Just a slow start,
I think. And the efficiency on first down is where we've got to get better, because it's tough to stick our offense in that situation where it's 3rd and 7+. We're just not at the point where we can overcome that right now. I think we'll get better as time goes on, but sticking Zach in the game against what has traditionally been a really good defense in IUP, that's a tough task for him. And I thought he controlled his emotions throughout the course of the game and just got better as it went on. And I told him, I said, these games, they're going to get easier for you because it's going to slow down. So the future's bright with him. We just got to get him on the field and get him more experience.
At 20-0, were you just concerned, like, let's right this ship, or could you see that they were actually ready to play well? I thought the defense was spectacular.
No, I had a different feeling on this one, Jimmy, where I thought 20-0 it wasn't out of reach at that point. We just needed to score. And I thought once we did that, we can get ourselves back in the ball game, because our defense was holding up, and they couldn't run the ball unless it was their quarterback pulling it and making a ton of people miss. They didn't have anything between the tackles with their running back. I thought that was really good for us from that standpoint. So they'd have to big play us. So as long as we can get our offense going, I thought if we scored and we got some momentum, because we're momentum based, I thought we could be in the ball game. We were.
And then that 2 or 3 defensive stands after turnovers were incredible. But the one where they had it 1st and goal and then had the bad snap, and it came down to the ball either bouncing to your guy who was full speed the other way or bounced to them, which it bounced to them. I think they may have ended up missing a field goal or anything. But how did that look on film?
It bounced up, and it looked like Mike Zanders was going to get it and run away with it, and their quarterback got his hand in there and popped the ball back down. But game of inches, if that thing is a little bit more, the football is a little bit more to the right, Mike probably gets it, and you're not going to catch Mike Zanders running down, and then that probably puts us up by a point at that point in time. We were down 6, and we're late in the 4th quarter. So it's just, it's a matter of plays like that, and the good play by the quarterback getting his hand in there, but
Sure.
it was almost gone the other direction. But that's a great job by our defense fighting. That we put them in some pretty bad situations with the drop punt that we had, and then the interception down there that put those guys inside the 15-yard line twice, and they came away with no points. So you got to give our defense a ton of credit for that.
I thought it was sensational. Talking with Gannon football coach Brad Rzyczycki. Next week we'll have our last show. We'll be talking to Coach about the Stroudsburg game. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll be previewing that East Stroudsburg game. I am James R., and he is Coach Rzyczycki. Welcome back, everybody. Gannon University Football Show with Coach Brad Rzyczycki. Coach, you're 6-4. You've got to go across the state to play a good team. This is the first year Gannon ever in football has had the target on the back. It's a growing experience. This would be a good game to end the season with a win. Yeah,
I don't shy away from things like that, Jimmy. I've told the guys 7 wins sounds a lot better than 6 when you look at it, and and to be honest with you, traveling on the road has been pretty good to us. So I'm not worried about the travel, and
right.
I get to see the guys go to bed and all that other stuff. So I know that there's no distraction from that standpoint. But yeah, we get to play a good ball club that, on the east side and try to get ourselves to 7 wins and make progress. It's been a little bit of a learning curve, what you said, with the target on our back, and we've gotten everybody's best to this point this year. So we got our hands full on Saturdays, but we're looking forward to it.
Well, just kind of off subject here. I've been on a lot of road trips in my life. You run a great trip. I mean,
appreciate
it's very
that.
Noticeable. There's no doubt. Your kids and coaching staff representing Gannon very well. First, take us through the East Stroudsburg offense.
Yeah, their quarterback, we didn't see him last year, but he's a good one, number 10, and he's done it a while for those guys. And he throws the ball for a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards. He's done it his entire career. He was hurt last year when we played him, so if you leave people open, he's going to find them, and he's athletic enough to get out of the pocket, but he throws the ball. There's one game I think he threw the ball 50 or 60 times. It was a 5 overtime game, but threw 9 touchdowns. So, he'll wing it, and the good thing for him is he knows their system so well. He knows where to put the ball. So we're going to have a good day with our secondary. We're going to have to give him different looks and put his eyes on some different things and maybe run coverages some different ways for him. So we'll have our hands full with their offense, but you can't fall asleep on the run game because they do run the ball too. And if you empty out the box and drop 9 or 8 or whatever it might be, they'll run the football on you. But they're wide open. They get in a lot of quads looks, and they're good enough to get into 20 personnel and still run the ball with an isolation look, or putting the other back on a linebacker somewhere. So they're multiple on offense, and they're extremely explosive, and they score points against everybody.
Are they out of the spread?
Yeah. I guess if you looked at them on the field, yes, they're absolutely out of the spread. I mean, they line up in quads a lot, 4 receivers to one side, 1 to the other, which is an empty backfield, and no one back there except for the quarterback. So yeah, they're a spread team.
Do they look for the big play?
Absolutely. I mean, they'll take it. I mean, they're going to take what you give them, but they're going to go ahead and try to strike quick.
Now, was he in Erie last year? Is he a veteran quarterback?
He was hurt last year. I think he separated his shoulder, hurt his shoulder before they played us, so he missed the last 4 games of the season last year. But he's healthy now.
All right. What about defensively?
Defensively, they're traditionally a 3-3 stack team right now for the second year, but they do jump into a 4-man front, so they'll give you a variety of different looks up front. Jimmy, they play a million different coverages. Sometimes, and they look, if they're in cover 0, sometimes it looks like quarters. So our quarterbacks are going to have their hands full just to diagnose what's going out there. So we have to get our offense into some sure things where they don't have to read the safeties and find out what exactly they're giving us, because they do have somewhat of a game plan going in against everybody, and everybody plays us different with our zone read stuff. And we'll have to figure out what they've worked on between Liam Nodler and Zach Phillips, because they are 2 different quarterbacks. And we'll have to figure it out, but they should be a 3-man front like our defense, so it makes our offensive line comfortable because they can block a 3-3 because they do it against us all the time. So that's what they do defensively, and they're good. So we'll have our hands full.
All right. I talked about the target on your back first time in the history of Gannon football, but I'm with you. 7-4 compared to 6-5. So really, this is a big game for the Gannon football program.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows your program how every year, And you don't want to say 7-4 is disappointing, but it's not what some people expected, which is a compliment.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot. We sometimes I get the question, not from you, because I told you that you're my favorite media person. I love to be in here, but sometimes it's almost like I have to apologize not living up to someone else's expectation for our football team. But these guys have grown. We knew where our deficiencies were going to be. We're 90 strong in that room, and we know where we need to get better at. And we have made progress this year. We can't live our football life trying to live up to what other people's expectations might be from the previous year and who we've got coming back, because we know the deficiencies and where we need to get better, and I think we have. But when you change a culture, your job is to win more games than you lose them, and to that point we've done it, and the expectation is good because everyone expects us to go out and fight and win games. And if we can get to 7 wins and have 3 years straight in a row of winning football here again, and I really think we've turned the tide to let everyone know that this is a winning program from that standpoint. So the culture has changed, and we give ourselves a shot every year. That's what we want. So yeah, I can take the criticism if it may come from other people, but I'm happy that everyone expects us to be good from year in and year out. That's where you know that you've done your job and the culture's changed at Gannon.
Yeah, you're not sitting here going, boy, we want to get to 7-4. That would be a great year.
Yeah. For
you, anything short of the national championship, knowing you, is not a great year.
Absolutely. I'm hungry. I want to win football games, and I love to compete. Losing those games, all those guys in the room and the coaching staff, it takes a little bit out of you, so it makes us work harder. And we'll get, we're going to be competitive every year. We'll be in this thing every year, Jimmy. And 7 wins, there's nothing to shy away from that. I'm proud of these kids.
As I said, if that's a disappointing season, then you've got a good program.
Absolutely.
If 7-4 is a sensational season, then you're walling in mediocrity. How many true freshmen have you played this year?
7.
7?
We've had, we didn't want to play any of them, but we ended up with injuries and everything else that's happened in the course of the season. We've had to play 7 of them.
All right. I appreciate it. What time are you leaving tomorrow?
We are going to leave at 10:45.
That's a trip, East Stroudsburg.
Yeah, we're going to stop at Haas's and eat down there in Grove City, and then head back across state and eat at the hotel later that night.
Yeah, I did a game there once, and I looked at their roster, and I'm going, man, everybody's from Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York. It's about as close as you can get to being out of the state.
Yeah, it's right on the border there off of 80, so yeah.
Stunned. All right, Coach Brad Rzyczycki, we'll be talking next week to wrap up the season and look ahead to next season as much as possible. Good luck.
Thanks, Jimmy.